Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. And in this series we're going to be going over Jupiter in the houses, okay? Jupiter in the houses, and in this episode we're going to be talking about the 8th house, okay? So having Jupiter in your 8th house, all right? And before we get to that, I just want to remind you guys to check out my music, okay? Some of you guys have been commenting on my outros and intros. That's my music, and I have it here on YouTube. And on Apple and Spotify. All you have to do is type my name, Sam Dolphin, and it will sure be able to pop up. All right, so definitely check that out. But yes, Jupiter in the 8th house. Now, before we get into that, let's just go over what Jupiter is and what the 8th house is, all right? So with Jupiter in astrology is a planet of expansion, okay? This is the planet in astrology that expands everything. It makes more of everything, okay? Jupiter is the biggest planet when you compare it to all the other planets like Venus, Mars, Earth, Pluto. So Jupiter is this big planet. It represents big energy. So abundance and wealth, a lot of these things are connected to Jupiter because wherever it is in your chart, it expands it. So you have a lot of it. Okay, so this can lead to lots of opportunities, luck, wealth, and abundance. And it also represents philosophy and higher learning. Okay, this is how we expand our world and open different places and ideas and mysteries within the world. Okay, Jupiter is the adventure. It expands that and expands your reality. So this is going to connect to your faith, your beliefs, your spirituality. And then you have the 8th house, okay? The 8th house is ruled by Scorpio. The 8th house deals with emotional transformations. This is like the biggest tests in your life, the life tests that strike you emotionally. So it deals with lots of emotional trauma, okay, emotional obstacles, but it's all meant for you to overpower these fears, okay? 8th house deals with depression, fears, okay, loss, debt, okay? And all of this are things for you to overcome. 8th house deals with your power. So once you face all your deepest fears, your demons, your depression, your darkness, you become powerful. You master over it, okay? So this is the 8th house. Very deep, very intense house. Very deep. So with that being said, the first thing I can say about Jupiter 8th house people is that you guys have an abundance of emotional transformations, okay? I say an abundance of this, meaning you guys have lots of opportunities to transform. So there's going to be lots of, with Jupiter here, it's expanding lots of situations with people, areas, situations where you have to go through an emotional transformation, okay? So a situation or a person can, or relationship that you have can, affect you emotionally in a traumatic way. And a lot of these situations are going to be available to you. You're going to go through lots of people, going against you or attacking your weaknesses or feeling like there's demons attacking you in a sense, like you have enemies here. Because again, the 8th house deals with your biggest fears, okay, your deepest fears. This is how we transform. So having Jupiter here, it's expanding this. It's giving you lots of opportunities to transform, lots of situations where you have to transform, where you have to face your fears, okay? Deal with your fears, deal with your demons, okay? And Jupiter's opening these opportunities, so you have an abundance of this. And this can be, good and bad, because like who wants, an abundance of emotional obstacles, It's like, wow. But at the same time, having a lot of these opportunities gives you the opportunity to transform. It's like you can't escape it. And that's the whole point of the 8th house, is to transform, is to be triggered in a sense where your weaknesses are addressed, and so that you can't escape from them. You have no choice but to deal with your weakness, but to deal with your darkest fears, whatever they may be. So having an abundance of this gives you the time to master these energies. So Jupiter in the 8th house, yeah, it can sound like, oh my gosh, who wants an abundance of transformations? But what this does is it gets you immune to them. And it gives you the opportunity to transform. A lot of times, our biggest fears, they arrive at us and we totally punk down because it's too traumatizing. Okay, the 8th house is a house that a lot of people ignore. A lot of times it deals with the issues that we ignore because we don't want to deal with them. So having Jupiter here kind of highlights this house. And you can't escape it, you can't ignore it. But the positive thing about that is it really helps you transform. You get immune to these situations. Okay, these situations that are challenging you, these people that are challenging you all emotionally, these energies. So because you have an abundance of this, you get used to it, you get your training, and you can really become strong here, really become powerful. Okay, Jupiter is big energy. So if the 8th house, once you start transforming with Jupiter here, now you're just going to be literally, you're going to be like powerful, unstoppable. Okay, because Jupiter is just going to gas that energy, because once you learn your lessons here in the 8th house, you become powerful. And Jupiter expands that power. All those lessons you learn in the 8th house, it expands it. So it's like, yes, it's a lot to have lots of trauma being thrown at you with Jupiter in the 8th house. But again, it's like you're getting that practice and you really become like this master. If you get through these lessons, because they're not easy, okay? 8th house lessons aren't easy. However, you can most definitely overcome them. And when you do here, you really become a master. And that is the great thing about Jupiter in the 8th house, is that it brings attention, okay, to this house and gives you that opportunity, that practice really to transform and to not, escape or dodge or ignore these important emotional lessons that you need to learn to transform your soul. Also, with Jupiter here, even though you get lots of opportunities for emotional trauma or just obstacles in general, emotional obstacles, what Jupiter here also does is gives you an optimism approach to these. Okay, so the 8th house is very dark and it deals with our deepest fears, our demons. And with Jupiter here, even though it gives us a lot of that, it also gives us optimism. So it gives you a kind of detached way of dealing with these traumatic issues or these demons, okay, that the 8th house is presenting. So you will be able to almost laugh at these things. Now, I'm not saying like you won't take them seriously, but you'll be able to kind of like, okay, here it goes again, like another situation. Like instead of like being so like shocked and traumatized about it, you begin to like play it like a game because you're so used to it. Again, Jupiter is bringing lots of opportunities, but like you have a more optimism with this. Jupiter brings a lighter, optimistic energy, so you can kind of take these challenges more lightly, okay? And that's a great way because, like I said, the 8th house can be so dark and it can sunk you into like depression and darkness, and you might not be able to see and understand that the reason why you're being presented this energy in the first place is so that you can overcome it. And with Jupiter here giving you that optimism, okay, that optimistic energy, like you can overcome anything, you get to kind of approach a lot of these emotional challenges with humor, a sense of humor, a sense of detachment, okay? And that helps you become really powerful and strong, okay, because you won't be so traumatized by these obstacles 8th house is giving to you. So that's another good point, So, you can complain and be like, oh my God, Jupiter's in my 8th house. I'm not going to be able to escape all these, obstacles like they're giving to me. It's like expanding it. Yeah, but you'll be able to handle it because you will have a detached way of approaching it. You'll have more of an optimistic way of approaching it. You'll be able to even be sarcastic and have a sense of humor while you're going through the pain, and you'll make it lighter in that sense. So that saying that, God doesn't give you a challenge you cannot overcome is very real here with Jupiter in the 8th house, okay? You're getting all these experiences. It's multiplying these experiences because you can handle it. You got Jupiter here. Jupiter is giving you this opportunity to practice and really get over these emotional obstacles. And with this optimistic energy, you are really built for this. So don't be intimidated. I know it's intense here, but with that optimistic approach and that sense of humor, you can really make this a game and really take it a little bit lighter and make it so much easier for you. Okay, so you can handle this. Jupiter really gives it that optimistic approach here and gives it like kind of like sarcasm. Like, you know, people like here can have a really good sense of humor when it comes to really dark, messed up things happening. You know, something really messed up can be happening and these people have the perfect joke at the moment, you know, to make it lighthearted. You know, stuff like that is really good because these people can handle traumas so much more easier. You know, other people will get so drowned by it. They have that optimism, okay, that detachment, and they can see it for what it is. Okay, they get Jupiter people, they can look at their obstacles for a higher calling. They're more spiritual with it. They can see it as a higher calling, as as what it is, an obstacle that they just have to come across, where someone can see it like, oh my God, this is going to be the death of me. This is going to be the end of my life. Also, with Jupiter in the 8th house, these people are very philosophical and the occult, which is like hidden knowledge. So these people are very deep thinkers, okay? Jupiter is already very philosophical. It likes to think, have these high thoughts and likes to see the bigger picture, very intellectual, very spiritual. But with the 8th house here, it gives all of that, you know, those big ideas, it gives it depth, okay? So there's also occult knowledge, hidden knowledge, knowledge and information we don't know or understand as a value in society. But here, you know a lot of it, okay? People with Jupiter in the 8th house can have a lot of hidden knowledge and occult knowledge and deep knowledge, okay? And be like very well versed in this, like just have a library of all this hidden information, okay? Because they're very deep thinkers and they're very deep studiers, okay? 8th house is very deep. It gives so much depth into anything, and Jupiter, this philosophical energy, gives you like philosophy but with so much depth, okay? And then of course that hidden occult knowledge, you know, these people can have so much information and knowledge on hidden things that are deep, things that a lot of people don't know, things that are not out here in the mainstream, okay? So very, very, very philosophical but deep, okay? Deep people, very interesting people to talk to get information that can blow your mind and that you were never aware of. So definitely a big on that with Jupiter in the 8th house. With Jupiter in the 8th house, when it comes to long distance traveling, okay, when it comes to traveling and even foreign places and people, and you know, you can come up with a lot of trauma here or emotional battles here, you know, dealing with, you know, foreign cultures or going out and traveling, any type of long distance traveling that takes you out of your normal, you know, area. You know, you can come up with emotional battles, okay, problems, obstacles, you know, with the 8th house here, okay? In the 8th house, a lot of the obstacles are deep, so they could be like, are intimate and deep, so there could be connections that you've made of people of foreign places, okay? And foreign, it could be anything. It doesn't just have to be culture. It could just be people very different from you. Anything that's different from what you're used to in your local area. Going outside of these boundaries can initiate a lot of obstacles, especially between people, being that 8th house is very intimate. So be careful with long distance traveling and the people that you meet with Jupiter in the 8th house, because they can cause some trauma. You could have relationships with people outside of what you're used to from traveling, from going through different places, and those relationships that you're making, because they're foreign, because they're different, they could become some emotional obstacles, okay? Some karma that you have to overcome. All right, so be aware of that, because that long distance traveling and the different types of people that you meet from that in the foreign places can come up with some obstacles. So yes, be aware of that. But through these experiences, this is how you actually overcome these obstacles. So yes, there is karma with long distance traveling, with foreign places, but by means doing this, you transform and you get to defeat whatever demons, whatever fears that you've had with this. You get to transform, you get to become better. So again, with everything in the 8th house, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. It is just that you have to be able to get over the hurdle. With Jupiter in the 8th house, your beliefs, okay, your faiths, what you believe in will be challenged. A lot of people will challenge this, okay, because Jupiter, again, deals with our beliefs, deals with our faiths, our higher ideas. So because it's in the 8th house, where you go through all these challenges, yes, your beliefs and your faiths will be challenged. A lot of people will challenge this. A lot of people will try to even dominate and control this, okay? There'll be like some power games dealing with what you believe in your faith. You can even dealt with religion, or maybe wherever you guys went to church, wherever you went to church, or whatever your religion was with your family. It could have been very oppressing on you, okay? This religion or faith could have been very oppressing on you in many emotional ways, and you had to transform out of it. So yes, when it comes to your faith, your beliefs, there's a strong karma with this. There's something that you have to overcome. People will challenge you. With Jupiter in the 8th house, people will challenge you on your faiths and your beliefs. And maybe the religion or the beliefs and the faiths that you grew up with was a challenge and oppressing on you. So you have to overcome that. Okay? You have to overcome this. You have to believe in what you believe in with great faith, with great depth. Okay? Because 8th house is depth. These are researchers. So you have to take power over your faith. Okay? With Jupiter in the 8th house, take power over your faith, because people are going to challenge you. Okay, people are going to challenge your faith, what you believe in. So it's your goal here to take power over what you believe in with your faith, with the intuition that the 8th house gives you. Okay? Very important, because again, the 8th house is all about getting your power back. Also, Jupiter in the 8th house, even like a fun fact would be, even college can be an obstacle. Okay, it could have been lots of emotional challenges and obstacles and forces against you when you went to college, because again, the Jupiter rules college, okay, being that it happens after, you know, high school, which is all your local education. College is when you finally go abroad, okay, and this represents Jupiter's. Jupiter's when you travel, you're learning new information abroad. You're going outside of your normal boundaries, okay? You're choosing different subjects that you can choose versus the local ones that you're used to having. So with that being said, going into college with Jupiter representing that, going into these studies with it being in the 8th house, even going into college can come up with lots of obstacles, okay, and challenges, and people trying to take power over you here with what you believe in, okay? Professors arguing with you about what is right, going into philosophical classes where you're arguing with the professor, okay? Or you really feel like the professor's trying to brainwash you. So again, that karma with your faith and your beliefs, you know, you have to take power over them, because people will try to take power over your faiths and beliefs here. All right, so yes, that is Jupiter in the 8th house. I hope you guys enjoyed that, okay? Very powerful placement. I know it seems intimidating because Jupiter's literally multiplying all your emotional obstacles, karma, and challenges, all right? But I'm telling you, it's because you can handle it. Jupiter gives you that optimism. You got that energy to handle this, and you have so much opportunities to transform and to overcome your demons and to really gain power over your faith, your beliefs, okay? So that is Jupiter in the 8th house. I hope you guys enjoyed that. And if you did, book a reading with me, okay? I do natal chart readings with tarot. All you gotta do is email me and we could go forward with that. You can check out my music as well too. I'll have all the links in the description box below. And I'll check you guys out on the next video. I walk into a realm so cold. Big doors, big bars, tight locks, everything closed. Your tools ain't cut for the mold. Chin up, back straight, stand up, everything bold. You stay cause you're trying to get in.